Well, nice to see you as always. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Terrific. How are you?
Outstanding and terrific, but improving.
You're
Although
at Labor Day weekend.
I
It
got
was funny. I'm a little late getting to this, but there's a whole story. Breakfast is one of my favorite meals to go out for. And Lynn has been working weekends, helping realtors with open houses and all that good stuff. So we were talking last night about like, let's go out to breakfast tomorrow. We used to love doing that. We would go out and just drive and get lost. And she's like, do you think you can? She's going to be at an open house for noon today. She's like, well, can you get? We go out to breakfast, be back by 9 for the podcast. I'm like, no, but maybe I can check and see if we can push this a day. So I gave you all these crazy texts this morning about this and that and this, and we drove around a little bit right in the city. We ended up at this really cool place called Salt and Pepper, which is a mile from my house. And I'm home here trying to get on the Zoom by 9:15, 9:20. Like, I just got to open my mind to possibilities. So all that being said, here we are. We've already had breakfast. We went out for a nice breakfast date. I had a lovely omelet, and we had some nice time together.
so look over here on over the on top of this sign, right?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, you're giving me a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Is that to my breakfast story or?
I don't know.
Oh, I got reactions. Let me see what I got over here.
You got the same.
Oh, you know what I say? You know what I say to that? Wow.
so
Oh, that makes me laugh. Oh,
my
how do I get rid of that now? Oh, there we go. Whew. Oh, thank you.
so I'm a little upset at my son this morning,
Which one?
Josh, the one that's in Norway,
Mm-hmm. How come?
because today's his birthday and he's making me feel a little bit old now.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. My mom used to say that. Like it never occurred to her age, but when she thought about her son being at the time 50, she's like, I got a 50-year-old son. How is that possible?
Yeah. Stop doing that. Well,
Uh, Labor Day weekend. I don't know. Maybe I've been saying to people, the older I get, the faster it all goes. I mean, and I do this every single year because Labor Day is supposed to be like the end of summer, the big last weekend. And there's a little bit of like, oh, that's too bad. But I always then remind myself, like September, October are some of my favorite months, like fall, a little breeze, not too hot. Fall golf is the greatest. A little jacket, you're not sweating to death. So I love the season we're about to come into, but this is definitely a reminder that summer's kind of almost behind us. Uh,
yeah. So one of my local guitar players, one of my favorite local guitar players.
yeah.
I think you saw him one time in Connecticut or something. The blues
Oh,
guy,
yep,
Sean Chambers.
yep.
So he sent me a thing about what's going on with Nuno and stuff. I'm like, hey, thanks, man. I didn't know.
Hey, have you heard this guy's got a new album out? And he's on one or two guitar
Yeah,
magazine covers in case you missed it at the newsstand.
that's funny. Yeah.
You're like, dude, he's my best friend. I know this.
Actually, when I went looking for the magazines because I wanted to get them all,
Oh yeah.
I only found one, so I probably have to order them online somewhere to get them all.
I'm sure he's on the cover of magazines that we haven't even heard of. International guitar magazines and
Oh yeah.
oh yeah. So Joe, JD and the Retro Riders, last podcast, I think I said Joe's name and we got cut off. But Joe and his guitar player Al and his brother Dave and one of his drummers Lou went to see Extreme with Living Color at the House of Blues in Los Angeles,
Oh wow.
and they loved it. They loved it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The funny story was Al, who's about our age, was from New York, and he saw Living Color 40 years ago, before they really were big at all, at
Wow.
some club, I think like CBGB's in New York City. And he had a picture of him and Vernon Reid, the guitar player, with him. I guess it wasn't a cell phone picture, it was a picture, then he had it on his cell phone. So now they see them 2 weeks ago, And afterwards, I mean, it's a small club, and Lou posted a picture of him and I think Vernon Reed. The guy's like just standing by the bar after they play, waiting for Extreme. So Al goes up to introduce himself, and he goes, "I got to show you something." And so Al's talking to Vernon Reed. I got to show you something. He pulls out his phone, gets to the picture. He goes, "This is me and you 40 years ago." And Vernon looks at me and goes, "I remember that jacket he was wearing."
Really?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's awesome.
We sometimes forget like these musicians. Do we have like this, you know, stage like, oh my gosh, I'm having a little bit of, an idol thing going on. They're just regular people. I remember that jacket.
Wow.
So
Phew.
I would love to catch them again on this tour that they're on because the club we were at, as I mentioned last time, was loud, a little too loud. I mean, I'm not a wimp, but a little too loud. And so it gets distorted, especially Living Color. Extreme sounded really good. Um, but I'm not sure I can catch them again. And as far as we know, they're not coming south for you.
So my son Josh turns 41 today.
That is old.
Wow.
It makes you stop and go, I don't feel my age, but if I got a son who's 41, what does that say?
And we waited a few years before we had the first. We're in living in Arizona in Phoenix when he was
Yeah,
the thing when it started.
when it was time. Conceived. I think the word you're looking for. Conceived.
But then in Terry's family, this was going to be the first grandchild.
All right.
So then she wanted to go back home to.
They're all like, you can't live in Phoenix and have the first grandchild and make us fly 3,000 miles to see them.
I know.
41 today. So let me do some math then. So we're talking about 1982 he was born.
Yeah. So yeah, you're good with math.
I'm good at math.
Oh, yeah. So
There's three kinds of people. People who are good at math and people who aren't.
So
Wait a minute.
he went to the New England School of Photography,
Right.
right across from Fenway Park. So he's a photographer a long time, and then he kind of slowed down a little bit and did some stuff. And then lately, he's been he worked for this company has a website. They sell all kinds of stuff on a website,
Oh,
and
nice.
he does all the photography and stuff, and sets takes care of the website.
And he's in Norway?
Yeah. So the lady that owns the place or the business wrote a book about her business and stuff, and all the photos in the book. There's tons of photos of his photos, and right now it's the number 2 book in the country.
And this is Josh.
Yeah,
So Eric is also a photographer.
yeah. But
Okay. Wow.
so Josh went to school to be a photographer.
Right.
Then Eric joined the army,
Yeah.
and he was doing IT in the army. And one day they said, "Hey, anybody here want to learn how to use a camera?" And Eric said, "Yeah, I'll do it."
Right.
So they showed him how to do the camera, and then they sent him into Afghanistan to be a combat cameraman.
Oh, that's a little scary for mom and dad, but okay.
So here's an interesting thing. He was going around to these little villages, and
Yeah.
he would take pictures of the natives there when they weren't posing, just
Right.
and he had a bunch of photos, but the army disclassified a bunch of the photos so he could do something with them.
Okay.
And wrote an essay about the emotions of Afghanistan, and he had all these pictures and stuff, and he won some kind of an award for that. It was amazing.
Wow.
And some of those photos are so, because the children and these old folks, you can see the English in their
Yeah.
face and stuff is just amazing.
Yeah.
And
But then he hooked up with all the celebrity stuff too.
well, yeah, because
What a transition.
he was doing photos, doing.
Oh. And he offered to do stuff like, hey, your photos stink. Let me do some stuff. And the guy was blown away.
Yeah. And so
What
now
kind of business was that? Where was that? He was in a
he was working for a radio station. He has a degree in sound engineering,
okay.
so he's working aboard and stuff. And then one of his friends is one of the top DJ in a hip hop station in LA.
Right.
And Eric said, "Hey, who's in charge of his photos and stuff?" So every time an artist will come in
Sure.
to be
Yeah.
interviewed in their thing, they take
I
pictures,
think,
on the
yeah,
wall.
yeah.
So I talked to the guy, says, hey, can I ask you something? What's the deal with these pictures? Who does that? He says, well, he says, with all due respect, you're not doing any favors to you for yourself or for the artist because the photos aren't that great. The guy goes, what do you mean? He says, let me do one shoot for you. I won't charge you anything at all. I'll print the photos and I'll bring them in, and you can see the difference. See if it'd be better for you. So,
Providing value.
huh?
Providing value. I love
Adding
it.
value, yeah.
Entrepreneur.
Oh boy.
And so he did one shoot, and the owner was, and the DJ was like, "Wow, this is significant." And that's how that started. Then he met these people.
Yeah, but every time he takes photos of these people, his friend, the DJ, does a podcast, and Eric is the producer of the podcast. So he gets to take photos of all
Right.
these. And one thing left with another, and he's doing all kinds of stuff. It's just amazing.
What a journey. We're
Wow.
all on it. We're all on journeys.
So when I was a young guy, I worked for Honeywell, which is I'm sorry, Microswitch, which is a division of Honeywell or something. Anyways,
Okay.
and Microswitch owned a camera company. I think what it was, Canon, I think it was.
Wow.
And so because we were employees, we could buy them real cheap. So I bought a nice camera, A1E, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I was taking a bunch of photos. We didn't have to take photos to take the roll to the Photoshop. They give you the photos and then they send to you. It's not like we do now where you can put it in a computer and get all the photos. So I took some pretty cool photos. Never took any lessons or anything, but I took some cool photos. And then
It's funny. Growing up, my dad was from Ireland, and he always had this camera. I don't know when he got it. I don't think I think he got it in the United States, but it was a Leica, Leica, and he had this old leather case that went over it. And I used to open up and play with the case, and he dabbled, and he never really got serious. But he always liked the fact he had this really nice camera. And I can remember him trying to get involved, and that was the old film and all that stuff days. And then I just got thinking now, oh, wait a minute, Labor Day is tomorrow. So Labor Day, my mom died on Labor Day in 2018, 5 years ago tomorrow. My dad's been gone 2 years, and somewhere is that camera, I'm sure. And but the funny thing about that, I mean, today's iPhones and smartphones, the cameras are unbelievable.
oh, it's amazing.
So I often joke when I meet someone who's like carrying a nice camera. We were on vacation, Nova Scotia, not too long ago. We watched past somebody who had like a camera around their neck with the long lens, and I go, "Wow, you don't see that too often anymore." I I see what you're doing there. I don't have any milk in the house. I can't even drink a cup of coffee with you.
Oh, real men can take a coffee without.
I know. I used to, it's funny. I used to drink coffee black years ago. I don't know how I got away from it, but I did. So now I'd rather not drink it than drink it without milk. But I tell people I liken myself an iPhone photographer. Like I think I got a pretty good eye, and I
Yeah,
take decent shots with it, and kind of fun.
I think
Oh, this is interesting. I just opened my camera. So still face, we had a gig last night. We played Hotel Vernon here in Worcester, which is an old place that Babe Ruth used to live at. And
wow.
there's a speakeasy in the basement he used to drink at, and they haven't updated the place since, so it's that old. But in the back, there's a room, music room called the Ship Room, and the walls between each of the booths are cut like the bows of a boat, which is why they call it the Ship Room. And there's a nice stage, nice, a great music room. We played there several times. And because of the ship room analogy and the fact that it's so old and has a bad reputation, and it's in an area of Worcester called Kelly Square, some people call it the Kelly Square Yacht Club, which is hysterical because it's not. But we played last night, and I had given my phone to a friend of ours, Gabe, Marco's son, and said, "Hey, take some pictures." So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have like 55 pictures I haven't even looked at yet. The phone I forgot that I asked them to take, so I'll have to go through those and hope for one decent one. But yeah, I enjoy um, taking some good. Oh, I took one on vacation. Did I show you? This is like a postcard. Let me see. It was that we just went. We got down to the water. There was this little sailing ship. Look at this. Tell me if that couldn't be a postcard.
Yeah, I don't see it.
I don't see it. The viewers are loving that.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, wow.
Oh, sure. I'm an iPhone photographer. Um, but I was in the photography club when I was in sixth grade, elementary school. We had a photography club, and we had a dark room, and we would actually develop our own, negatives and learn all that stuff. I can still smell in my mind some of those old solutions and fascinating.
So when Josh was in high school, I bought him a camera, just gave him a camera, and he started taking pictures, and somehow we ended up being the photographer at the high school, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Then after that, he, went to New England School of Photography. But it's funny how things happen. So, for years I was in restaurant management, right?
Mm-hmm.
And never had a coffee. I wasn't a coffee guy. And then after years of that, I went to sales at a car dealership,
Yeah.
and the guys were always drinking coffee. So then I started drinking coffee, and now I still drink coffee because of that. See?
You started drinking. You started drinking coffee as a car salesperson.
Yeah, the Marlboro Subaru.
Marlboro Subaru.
Hey, you know the word IRE? What does that mean? What does that mean? What's that word?
Ire means some sort of inner tenacity, kind of your inner drive, or what I'm guessing.
So is that why Ireland is Ireland because of that?
Definition of ire. I'll be right with you.
I'll be here waiting.
Hold on. Let's see. Ire. Uh, Anger.
Oh,
The plans provoke the ire of conservationists. Ireful is the adjective, so it means anger. I knew it had some sort of inner drive. I just didn't know it was
that's
anger as
why
a
every,
drive.
every time I go to Ireland, I come out of there a little upset.
A little angry, yeah. Think about the people who live there.
Ouch.
June 2nd, 1949, my dad got on a boat with his friend Steve Brady and left Angryland, apparently, and arrived in New York City 8 days later, June 10th.
You know what's going to happen now?
1949.
We're going to be
19.
sued for saying that. Angry Land.
Listen, I'm one of them. I can say it.
Yeah, you can say it. I can't.
It's a joke. It's just, there's a lot of parody here at the No Hissy Fit Zone. Don't have a hissy fit. We're just making a joke, people.
It's like my friend always says, Ireland is Angry Land.
Like my friend.
Like one of my friends always says.
I once heard this guy say, right. Oh no, the first time I was like, Tony Cabral once told me this, and then later on you're like, I once heard this person say, and then it's like I've always said.
I know. Where did that come from? We both heard that somewhere.
That's on some TOW from way back.
Isn't it funny how sometimes you hear one thing and it just sticks with you forever?
So last night's gig, I have this very dear friend of mine, Dottie. She lives way up on the North Shore, like more than an hour from Worcester. I gave her a CD one day, and she's like loves the band. And I'm like, wow, that's so fun. And then she drove out to see some friends of hers who live in Lunenburg, not too far from where we used to live, and they enjoyed us. And somehow she heard we were playing at last night. So she texts me and she says, "Hey, what time are you guys playing? And do you know overnight accommodations?" I'm like, "We're playing from 7 to 10, and there's hotels everywhere, so nothing specific." And so I say to the guys, like, "I got this friend of mine. She might be driving an hour to hear this." And so here was our plan. We thought we were geniuses back in April because this is an easy club to book a date. They get a book, you walk in, you sign your name, it's yours for the night.
Yeah.
And so, so back in April, we're looking at the Worcester Red Sox schedule because also in this area called Kelly Square is the new Polar Park where the Worcester Red Sox play. So the Worcester Red Sox were playing yesterday at 4 o'clock. And they got the pitch clock. Now the MLB does too, but they've had it for a couple of years. So 6:45, the game's probably going to be over, 7-ish. And I'm thinking there's going to be thousands of pedestrians walking right through Kelly Square. And I'm like, why don't we start early? We had a sandwich board out front on the sidewalk that said free live music. And we're like, we're going to pack this place. I mean, I don't know if these guys know that they got to order more beer because they're going to sell out. So we're getting set up and it's 7:15, 10 to 7. And Dottie walks in with her friend Michael, my new friend Michael. And we had a nice chat and they sit down and no one's there yet. We had a couple of band friends in another booth. And I'm like, well, it's past 7, but we should probably start playing some music for my two friends here.
Yeah, yeah.
So we did. And then two other people walked in who was the bass player's daughter and her friend. And later on, during the second set, another couple walked in, and that was it for the whole night.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So the sign out front didn't work great, and the fact that there'd be thousands of pedestrians leaving the Worcester Red Sox, our plans didn't really line up with reality. But that being said, we didn't really feel great about our last gig. We were just a little off, and so we kind of really rehearsed a little bit hard. We squeezed in 2 rehearsals last week. And we always joke, like, if nothing else, it's going to be a good rehearsal. And so it was a great rehearsal last night, to the point where, like, you'd look at each other after a song like, man, that was really good. So, and what I finally got the guys to do, I think one of our strengths as an original band is just a jam. Like, I'll start playing a beat or Mark will start something at the guitar, and then we just go. And we know each other well enough to know kind of where this might go or turn or whatever. And we can do it well often just in rehearsal, jam for 15 minutes. And like, that was really cool. And of course, nothing got recorded. It's gone forever. And so I said, let's start with a jam because we don't have enough music for 3 hours. And so we did. Mark was just noodling. I go, keep doing that. And next thing you know, 10 minutes later, 12 minutes, we finished this really cool thing. And I don't think anybody in the audience recognize the fact that we'd never played that before. It just kind of happens. And they were nervous to do it live. And I'm like, let's just do it. There's 2 people here. Now's the time. So there's a lot of wins last night.
Sometimes the mind is so crazy.
Oh,
I picked up a guitar the other day and I was, I wasn't just going to mess with it. All of a sudden I started playing something. It was a song that I hadn't played since the 70s. And for some reason, it just came to me, and I just started playing it, and I still remember how to play it. It was Hymn 43 from Jethro Tull.
Oh my gosh, I know that tune.
Yeah, it's an awesome tune, but I hadn't played that.
I think that's an Aqualung, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even call myself a Jethro Tull fan. Although it's funny, I went and saw Jethro Tull years and years ago down at Mohegan Sun at the casino. They have a pretty decent arena. And I remember that's an old friend of mine I lost touch with. And then I remember thinking, like, this was a great concert. I got to go start collecting this guy's music. I like all of this. And I didn't do any of it. And I think everybody who's not a Jethro Tull fan has Aqualung in their library. In fact, I got a case of albums crate right there still. I bet Aqualung's in there. I think that's on there.
I love that band.
I love that guy, Jethro Tull.
Jethro Tull, he's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
He's not
hard to work with, but
he's not that tall, but he's Jethro Tull. Or Tull. Tull. And his guitar player, Martin Barr.
Wow.
He's not like people don't know him as one of the best guitarists, but he's really, really good.
So I don't think I've ever talked to anybody who knows any of the members of Jethro Tull, except for maybe Ian Anderson. So you know the guitar player's name. That's impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
He knows me, too.
No, you look familiar. You look familiar. Do I know you? Do you watch TV? Yeah, I do. Yeah, so do I.
You look familiar. You watch TV? He says, yes, so do I.
So do I.
But when you say that, you watch TV, if they say, you look familiar, I say, yeah, do you watch TV? So they think I'm going to tell them the show that I'm on or something. I say, oh, yeah, yes, it's me too.
Do you remember the concert venue up here down in Mansfield, outdoors? It was originally called Great Woods. And I still like to call it Great Woods because it's had 15 names. And I think today they call it the Xfinity Center. So it got very corporatized, but I still like to call it Great Woods. Do you remember this place?
I've never been there.
I'm
familiar with the name, but I never went.
I think it might be new since you left because apparently you didn't leave 10 or 12 years ago, according to one of our last conversations, because it feels like 10 years ago you moved, but it's been a few more.
I came down here in 1991.
That's 32 years ago.
Yeah.
So this might not. So anyway, I'm going to Great Woods tonight to see The Offspring, which I'm kind of
Oh,
looking forward to. I mean, everyone knows that song "Come Out and Play."
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure I'll know a few of the songs, but just live music in a cool venue. It's covered outdoors, and then in the back you got these lawn seats which are not covered. It's just a big gradual bowl. So wherever you are, you're looking down towards the stage. I've seen Rush there. I saw when David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar were touring together and both doing their Van Halens, and one would open one night and then the other would open the next night, and they just stacked. Did you see that show? I saw that there. That
Oh,
was fun. I went and saw Kings of Leon. Remember them?
oh, yeah, yeah.
Except we had lawn seats, and when I say it was raining, I'm talking torrential rain. So we
Wow.
got to the lawn seats. I mean, to the torrential rain, like you hold up a poncho, which I don't even know if we had, and you could just hear it pelting. And I'm like, we didn't stay. It was just that train. But they got a couple thousand seats under roof,
Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
is all open out to the back. Then I saw Dave Matthews there. I'm not a huge Dave Matthews fan, but boy, those fans now had a tailgate. My God, they were partying up a storm. And he's a great drummer, Carter Buford. My goodness. So I saw Dave Matthews. And so yeah, I'm going to go see The Offspring tonight. Holiday weekend, Labor Day tomorrow. So all
Oh,
good. All good.
what Iron Maiden? You like Iron Maiden?
You know, I would never call myself a fan. I can appreciate the musicianship. Still face, Barry and Marco are huge, heavier than I am, Maiden and Priest, and they love all of that. And I never got into it.
I saw him twice over here in Tampa.
I hear the great show,
Oh, it's a great show. And then
a lot of
I saw him.
theatrics.
I told my son Josh that I went to go see him. He says, "Dad, you always pissed me off with this shit. I always wanted to see them. I said, take it easy, buddy."
Hey, no hissy fit zone.
Yeah, they put on a good show though, man. Wow.
I bet, yeah. And so Josh was a fan of them growing up.
Yeah, and they have
Or was
that.
it
They have that. I forget that.
that guy?
That little big guy that comes out and.
I forgot his name, but yes, they had that character. Yeah.
So the first time we went there was five of us that went from work, and the youngest guy that was with us is from Massachusetts. I can't remember his name. But anyway, we're sitting there waiting to go into the thing. With those $10 beer, $10 beer, to get can of beer, that's $10 or whatever. So he was the one. His name Todd. Todd. He goes, man, this stinks, man. I like to go to concerts because I can always, there's all kinds of the young girls you can see, and I like to keep an eye on what's going on. But everybody here is over 50. This is bullshit, and he's like all upset, right? So, right. So then there was a couple that was walking down, and the lady is a pretty lady. I says, "Hey, how about that one?" He goes, "Oh, finally, one that makes sense. Look at her." When they were walking towards her, she used to cut my hair, so she says, "Tony." She comes over and gives me a hug, right? And says, "This is my boyfriend that told you the drummer." He goes, "Oh yeah." So we're talking, and then Todd says, "Oh yeah, that figures. One girl here that was pretty, and she comes over and hugs Cabral. This is bullshit."
Oh, I love it.
Oh, that's funny.
Good to be connected. And you get to places that people know you and they're like, who are you?
So when I was working at this company called Acquire Direct, where I was doing marketing for financial advisors.
What was it called? Acquired?
Acquire Direct.
Acquired Direct. I remember this. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So anyway, we had all these contacts in our database, and I had like 400 something. And every month, you have to send out an email to all those guys. With
Right.
So Todd is the one he came in, and he was like the youngest guy of all of us working there. And so the boss, the salesman says, "Hey, I'm going to give you a thing." He gave him a disc with all these his contacts. That is supposed to, he says,
And these are individual financial planners you're going to reach out to run a seminar for them?
yeah. So he's sending out we're supposed to send emails to everybody every month. So he's over there, and 15 minutes later, he's over there having a coffee. So Zach says, "Hey, what are you doing? You got those emails?" I said, "I'm done." He says, "You can't be done. You have over 300 emails you have to send." He says, "It's 2008, bitch." That's what he said to him. to his boss, right? He says,
It's
"What?" He says,
2008, bitch.
"It's 2008, bitch." You know, but you say like you're talking to one of his friends, right? Versus his boss. He goes, "What's that supposed to mean?" He says, "You don't have to do individual emails. You just do one email, and you click on something that populates each one, and they get a different email that seems like it's
Personalized.
personalized. You know, it's not." He says, "What?" So then he told us, showed us how to do them all. You know, says, "Save me a lot of money every
With one button. That's a
one
great
button."
line. So he's the young guy. Says his old boss. It's 2008, bitch.
The way he said it was so funny, actually. That
And he
first,
kept his, I guess on top of that, he kept his job because he passed all the swearing. He brought value to the company. It's 2008, bitch.
so then one day he was talking to the owner of the thing. Right?
What I found that so funny.
You were talking about the new iPhone or whatever, and you were talking to the owner of the business. Because, you know, there's a button that I have here that if I'm talking to somebody and I don't want to talk to them anymore, I can hit this button and my phone rings as if there's a call coming in. I say, "Ooh, I got to take this to my wife," or whatever. But there was nothing there. So the owner says, "Oh yeah, how do you do that?" So he's explained to us. So you hit this button here, and it pops up like it's incoming call. He's in the owner says, "You've done that to me before." He says, "Oh yeah, I have." If you don't want to talk to somebody, just pretend that you have a call coming and you say, "Oh, excuse me, I got to grab this call. It's my wife." He was a funny guy, man. Wow,
Oh, that's funny.
unbelievable,
Woo.
man.
All right. Well, what do you got planned for today? A little relaxation, the opposite of Labor Day. You chilling out, or you got anything going on?
Not just chilling.
Nice, nice,
Nothing
nice.
wrong with that, right?
No, I love it. I got a new book out. I returned a book to the library yesterday. I bought two books when I was on vacation in Nova Scotia. I might have mentioned that last time we spoke last week, but I walked into this bookstore and I met this nice woman behind the counter. I said, "Do you have any local authors?" And she recommended two. She was one of them. And I started the book yesterday and I like it. So I'm probably going to walk in and uh, I've been watching, I like watching movies and I like to kind of lose myself, but I always go to like Netflix or Prime, like, what am I going to watch? Where do you start? So I'm scrolling through YouTube and there's this guy who has these YouTube videos that are like top 15 movies on Netflix that you don't know exist. It's a 12-minute video and he talks about these things and I'm making notes in my phone. Like, I'll watch that one. I watched that one. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
This guy's name is Darren Van Dam. And if you search him on YouTube, he's just got all sorts of videos about these top 10 ones on Amazon that, stunning movies on Amazon you don't know about. And it's kind of fun. So I got a decent list to go.
So in the last episode, we were talking about Canada because you were in Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
I mentioned I have relatives in British Columbia, right?
Yep.
So I got a thing from my cousin where he says, "Hey, as we're listening to your podcast, and then all of a sudden you started talking Canada and stuff." And I says, "Oh, here it comes." She thought I was going to be, 'cause sometimes I can have sarcastic comedy on purpose, but said,
Really?
but you were nice." I said, "Oh, yeah, no problem." I wasn't going to say anything bad about you.
You and I are good. Thank your lucky stars. Right.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Did I tell you that I got engaged in Nova Scotia?
Oh,
We
no
covered that
kidding.
last. Did we cover that at all last time?
The way you did that, you delayed that for like, I said, "What happened in Nova Scotia?" "Oh, it was a nice place, all these nice restaurants." I said, like, wow.
Where's he going with this? That's what she said to me when I actually proposed. It was like I looked off into the distance and came back, and she's like, "What was with the pregnant pause? You really built this up." I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's kind of important."
Kind of.
I was just looking off to the side saying, "What am I going to do if she says no? I got to pack. We got to leave. It's going to be really a disappointing trip."
I know. You and I talked about when I got engaged, when I asked Terry to, and I had that big heart-shaped, heart-shaped
Box of
box of chocolates.
candies.
Yeah, and I took the middle chocolate. I took that out, and I put the ring there, and I taped it so there was kind of, so I give her this. I told you I'd give her this big, huge postcard that was unbelievable, and I wrote some nice things on there that she really liked. I said, "Hey,
And so the ring was not hidden. It's stuck in the middle of all the candies.
yeah, it was in the middle." But I says, "Hey, that one of the candies." She goes, "Oh no, I'm not really into this candy like that stuff, chocolates." "Yeah, but have one. Come on, it's you know." So
Special.
she finally did, but she grabbed one from the end. I says, "No, no." Get the one in the middle. She goes, what difference does it make? That's the best one. So she goes, what the heck? What's the difference? I says, come on, do it. So she goes over to grab the one in the middle, and there was a ring there. She goes, what the heck? I said, gee, I almost had to beg you to open the stupid thing up.
Right, right.
Huh?
Yeah. Wow.
Well, Michael, we're into a new month, and it's today is the 3rd. We got the first episode, number 60.
This is 60, 60.
Wow.
I like that. Well, this is about the time we should be wrapping this up unless Zoom does it for us. So
No,
this has been great.
We're not going to let this happen again. I think I'm probably going to pay a little extra fee to. Right now, everything I do is free with them. So
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't pay any money.
No,
I wouldn't pay any money. Nah.
Shut them off before 45 minutes.
Nice. I know when I listen to podcasts, if something's 35 minutes, I'm in. Let me listen to that. But if it gets like, ooh, like that's intimidating to even start.
Yeah,
so I think, with respect for our viewership and listenership, we should kind of keep it right where it's at.
Yeah, if we go more than 40 minutes, people are going to start saying, I can't take this anymore. Come on.
Right.
That guy from Florida is nice, but the one from Massachusetts, oh my God. Who's going to listen to him?
Listen, if they're still listening right now, what a blessing that is. My God, they're 38 minutes in. Awesome.
All right, buddy.
Well, listen, have a great day. Happy Labor Day. Good relaxation. My love to Terry, and we will talk soon. Right back at you. 61 coming up.
You're the best.
No, you are.
I know, but I just wanted to say it. All right, man.
See ya.
Bye.
Oh.